Good morning or good afternoon. We're going to wait a few minutes since I'm a little bit early before we get started. All right. So thank you for joining VirtualPBX Dash admin training. So this is for our Dash platform, which has been about 2 years now. If by chance you're a vConsole customer, basically that's our original platform. I guess that's been around since the late 90s. We no longer have live trainings for vConsole. However, if you look on the screen here, this is the vConsole support page. And the advanced admin training, that is a recording of the full training we did or have done for admins on vConsole. So if you're a vConsole customer, you want to go to that page and just watch that recording, and that will cover all of the features and how to configure all of those features in the vConsole. Up here, so anywhere on the VirtualPBX website, you can get to your login by clicking up here at the login screen. Up here is your Dash login. Next up, this is the web phone login. So this is specific for Dash customers. You can make use of your web browser, specifically right now Chrome and Firefox, on a desktop or laptop computer to make and receive calls. It will not work on the mobile versions of those browsers. I've personally tried that and it doesn't work at all. I don't know if that is ever going to come about. I do know that we are working on adding web phone support to Safari and I believe Edge, but I don't have any kind of time frame on when that's going to happen. And then further down, we have the vConsole login here for our vConsole customers. And actually, I think, so click on here. I might still be logged into my, yep, I'm still logged in. So let me get logged out here. This, by the way, is the queue setup or display. All right, so your login is always going to be your email address, password, and then your account name, usually the company name. And then you click on sign in. If you ever forget, you can always click on forgot your info. And then when we get to the dashboard, this shows a snapshot of your system as it's currently set up. Let's expand that just a little bit here so we get this a whole view here. All right, so users, these are full-featured users. They have access to basically every feature, such as call forwarding, obviously have voicemail. They can make use of multiple types of devices, so VoIP phones, web phones, cell phones, landlines. They can make use of hot desking, any number of features. The next one group down is agents. These are specific to ACD queues. Agents do not have features other than, I think they have voicemail boxes. They can only make use of VoIP devices, so a soft phone, hard VoIP phone, or a web phone. They cannot use cell phones or landlines. They don't have call forwarding, anything of that nature. Devices, this is the number of devices you have on your account, and then broken down in various types. And unregistered lets you know those are the ones that are not connected to the system. And that typically will be your cell phones or landlines will almost always be included in that. Although I think our engineers sometimes change the parameters for that. Main numbers, these are the main numbers on your account, basically who your customers dial or what number your customers dial to get to your system. These numbers all behave the same way. So they all have the same main greeting, they all have the same initial routing. Next up, we have your fax box number. So basically, this is the number people dial to send a fax to you. Total numbers, so the numbers you have on your account. Assigned numbers means these are numbers you're using. They're going someplace, right? Spare numbers means you have them on your account, but you're not using them. Now, even though they're spare numbers and you're not using them, you would still be charged for them if you're over your account quota, I guess. Basically, most accounts come with 2 phone numbers as part of the plans. Beyond that, it's $4.99 per number. And then another breakdown here of just the U.S. local numbers versus U.S. toll-free numbers. Company directory. This is the number of people who have decided to be in the company directory. This account ID, this is actually your account number. So if you ever need to email in, you can give that to us and we should be able to find you without an issue. We don't expect you to read that off over the phone to us if you call into like support or billing. Usually we'll just ask you for your company name. And then lastly, you have your account realm. This is what you would use for faxing out, typically speaking. It also comes into play with third-party VoIP phones. Okay. Up here is your caller ID. This is your company caller ID, and you do want this set. We've had some issues, or at least customers have experienced some issues if they don't have this set and they try to make an outbound call with a VoIP phone because the system doesn't have a caller ID to associate with. So the outbound call fails. You can choose any of your main numbers, your company caller ID name. So this is what will appear when we send outbound calls. You are restricted to 15 characters, including spaces and special characters. And it takes about 3 business days for this to propagate through all the servers. Company caller ID name, sometimes referred to as CNAME or CNOM. That's C as in Charlie, N as in Nancy, A as in Apple, M as in Mary. This is basically what the telecom industry uses to denote that caller ID name. And the servers are among every carrier, basically. So some carriers support it. Actually, most carriers support it. Some do not. So if a call routes through one of those carriers that does not support it, then the CNAME information isn't transmitted further down the line. So that's one thing to be aware of. Obviously, if there's some kind of disruption or some of that information gets corrupted somehow, it obviously won't show up at the far end. And then the last thing to be aware of is if the person you're calling has your phone number already programmed into their device, so like a cell phone, for example, and they named it in a certain way on their device, that device's label will supersede the CNAME label. And again, that mostly comes into play with cell phones. Most cell phone providers, at least that we've encountered so far, don't actually provide the CNAME for free. It's usually a paid service that you have to add on. So that's why most people don't do it. Company E911 address. So especially for VoIP phone users, when you pick up a VoIP phone and call 911, this is the address that by default the system sends. You can change that on a device per device setting. Obviously, you want to have this right in case someone does have to call 911 from a VoIP phone. Hold music, this is the default company hold music. You click upload, find the file on your computer, and then click here to upload. It needs to be a .wav or .wave or a .mp3 to upload the file. It should be under 5 megabytes, although we've had some customers run into problems with files between, I think it's like 2 and 5 megabytes. Sometimes they're getting errors. So you may want to try to see if you can press it further, or I believe our support team has a couple links where you can go to compress the files. All right, let's go over to main number. All right, again, here we have our main company numbers. These little icons tell you have E911, you have your inbound CNAME, which typically you want, and prepend. Prepend is, actually here, let me bring that up here. So you can add additional text to the caller ID name of calls coming into your system. Now, this prepend will only work on VoIP phones. It does not work on any other kind of phone. But basically, since it's within our system, we can give you extra text so you and your staff know what the call is about. Now, if you're a new sign up and you don't have numbers on your account, you can simply click on Buy Numbers, Local or Toll Free. Local, pretty easy. You just enter in an area code and you type search and you click Add. And then you would click Buy Numbers. Now, for a new account sign up and you have 0 numbers, you get anywhere between 1 and 3 numbers included with your account. So even though it says buy numbers, we're not charging you for it on those initial numbers. It's just how the system adds numbers to an account. Now, once you go beyond your what's included with your account, then yes, you would be charged. Toll free works similarly. You just click one of the prefixes and it'll show. Now, especially for local numbers, or if you're looking for a vanity toll-free number, if you're not finding what you want, you can email porting at virtualpbx.com. Give them the parameters that you're looking for. So like if you're looking for a number in a specific area code or an area, city within an area code, you want to give them that information. Likewise, if you want a vanity toll-free number, you want to let us know like the number combination or at least what it spells out, and we can see what's available. In the terms of vanity toll-free numbers, we actually search all of the toll-free prefixes. So if multiple are available, we let you know, and so you can choose the one or ones that you want. And if none are available, we obviously let you know that as well. All right, next up we have office hours strategy. By default, new accounts are on 24-hour open office. Otherwise, as most of our customers do, they go custom office hours. Put a check mark in front of the day of the week to denote that you're open, and then enter your open hours in 24-hour or military time. Obviously, if you leave it unchecked, you are closed. And if you scroll down right here at the bottom, if you put a check mark here, this is if your whole office is closed for lunch. You can set office hours for that entire office. Purely up to you. One thing to remember, kind of like just if you ever make changes, always click on Save Changes. Office holidays, you can, so if you're closed for holidays, put a check mark here, and then you can enter your holidays ahead of time. Now, for some holidays, like Memorial Day, which the date actually changes from year to year, you would need to either remove it after it's passed or enter it in for the next year after that new date has passed as well. Whereas 4th of July, it's always the 4th of July, so you can just leave it here if you're closed for 4th of July and not worry about it. Add holiday, single day is pretty self-explanatory. Date range, looks like this one here, holiday. You can basically say, hey, from February 16th to February 19th, we're closed. So all 3 of those days, you don't have to do an individual entry for each one of those days. Now, the only caveat is for going over New Year's. So from New Year's Eve to New Year's Day, you want to do each of those days individually. If you go from, because there's no year entry here, if you go from December 31st to January 1st on a date range, the system just puts you in closed mode automatically because it doesn't know which years you're talking about. And then you also have advanced, and that allows you to do like the first July, first Monday in July. All right. All right, and it looks like everybody left, so I'm going to go ahead and stop the broadcast.